Before we get started, I feel it's very important that I tell you that the first time I played this game, my score was 119 points. Second time I played this game, 2-player with Wes, my score was 119 points. The third time I played this game was 4-player. First time was 3-player. Third time I played was 4-player, and I got 119 points. And then I played it again and broke my streak, and I even got less. I got 113, so I'm not... So this is Finspan.
So Finspan is the third game in the Stegmeyer series of Wingspan, and then a bunch of expansions, and then Wormspan, and now Finspan. So if you've played Wingspan or if you know anything about it, it's a similar game. The mechanics are very similar, but now you're using fish instead of birds.
Yep, and I think if we're going to compare base game to base game, Wormspan is like 10% or so more complicated than base game Wingspan, and by that same token, Finspan is like 10 or so percent, maybe anywhere, but maybe up to 20%. I don't know, but
that's almost 30%.
Less complicated. So this is slightly more. I don't want to say watered down. I'll use the term streamlined, although I gotta say I don't love this. I like this, but it's definitely my least favorite of the three.
Yeah, it's a great game. Don't get us wrong. We definitely don't want to start off we didn't like this game.
We're starting the video and that's what he said.
When you come from you have the giant box for Wingspan with everything in it.
Everything that's been released. It's not all
everything so far. I definitely get from that side of it. We were like, I don't need this fish version of it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really needs to own all three. And also and that's coming from somebody who has Clank in Space, and if you've never heard of it, The Hunger is very similar to it. And I definitely don't need all three. So what I'm saying is I've learned my lesson and I've grown as a person.
However, I do think Finspan is still a great game.
Especially because it's a little bit less complicated. Mm-hmm. It fits even more so into that intro category that Wingspan is known for.
And I think that part of saying less complicated, I think a better way to put it is it's less restrictive.
True.
And that when you're placing things, you have a lot more freedom of where you place it. It's a little bit it's easier to strategize because you're not having to puzzle everything together quite so much. So in that, it is a more, I don't want to say less competitive, but almost a little bit more relaxed when you play.
Sure. But I think that what you said there, okay, so in Wingspan, birds will tell you which of the 3 rows they need to go into. Some will go into multiple, but will tell you which of the 3 rows they need to go into, and then you have to go left to right. Here, it will tell you which of the 3 zones, but they just need to go anywhere in that zone, right? And then
there are some
that are restrictive to a column, but it's the same thing of instead of this one has to be on the top to the left versus this one. Well, this one can be one of these, or it could be kind of over here. It's still it's still. If Wingspan is boom, it has to go here. This is it has to. If you're
Yeah.
So I feel like we're just going to be comparing it to the other Span games because really, what else is there to say? Even you have workers, right, that you place just like the cubes in Wingspan, but here you have 6, and you always have 6. In Wingspan, you're you lose one every round because you put it on the skull thing. Mm-hmm. So it's the same but different but still same.
Same, but different. But still same.
It's just so easy. It's I don't know what to talk. I don't know how to talk more about this game because it's the same thing, but instead of doing this, you do a slightly modified version of that. That's a little bit simpler,
Yeah. So if you like birds and expansions, Wingspan. If you like dragons, which obviously the best, then you like Wormspan, and if you like fish, you've got Finspan.
Yeah, so Wormspan, you have the cave cards, you have to put those down before you can put the dragon cards on. You have the little circular track you're advancing on, right? So those things make that slightly more complicated, and here it's just more streamlined. Now, one could argue that there are other things on here that there really aren't in the base game. So you have the resources that you pay. When you play the cards, there's really aren't resource tokens in the way that there are the nectar and the fish and the whatever in Wingspan. Most of the resources you pay are other cards that you discard or eggs on here or youngling fish tokens that you burn from here. So it's almost like if in Wingspan you mostly spent by burning cards from your hands or removing eggs off of fish. You could argue that makes it slightly more complicated because now every fish you play, right, it's a harder choice to make, right? Because you're not just spending resources that you have in a pile, you're calling other cards from your hand. And yeah, maybe.
What are we doing here, man?
So if you're tired of hearing Tom just compare all the 3 games together, a little bit about what the game is. On your turn, you essentially have 2 actions you can take. You can either play cards to the board, or you can dive with your divers. So you've got your 3 different zones you're diving in, and there's a little bit of like an engine building mechanic going on because each zone has an action that you can take if there are fish in that zone. So you do want to kind of diversify where you put your fish. We got to make sure that when you're burning fish to play other fish, you're not burning the fish that you need to play later. And then a lot of fish also have abilities that can trigger when you're diving down there. And then the first diver in each zone gets a bonus action as well. I like that the divers are also how you like mark what turn you're on. So you can kind of keep track by how many divers you have. And then between every round, there's like a bonus that you're going for as well. Really important to keep an eye on those. The first time I played, I did not look at that the first round. And that's why I got trashed when Tom got 119 points. If you didn't catch that.
Well, actually, and also you do have to keep score of that on the sheet, though, because there are no point tokens. Like, those are scored mid-game. That's a little annoying. But also, to go back to comparing... When you said there are some things that you may trigger, yeah, all of that, like the brown cards in Wingspan are, I don't think they're may. I think most of them are like you do trigger them. But here it's like if you trigger it, everybody could do this, or you can just do that.
Yeah.
So there's more flexibility there, and it still just feels like more of like a softer blow to everybody at the table instead of being like, everybody has to lose something now. It's like, do I want to give everybody an egg? Yeah, everybody can get an egg.
Yeah, because it'll be like, draw 2 cards, but everyone else gets to draw 1 card.
Yeah.
Which I will say, if you're going to like keep an eye on one thing in this game, it's make sure you have cards. Because it's really easy to buy a big fish and burn a bunch of cards, and now all of a sudden you don't have fish to play, and so you're forced to take the dive to get cards, but maybe it's not an ideal time because you haven't built out fish there yet. So you're like getting behind the ball trying to catch up and have cards again. So that's definitely a resource that you've got to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, more so than in Wingspan. You still have the 3 columns are like this one's mostly cards, this one mostly eggs, and this one's mostly fish, which is kind of like the resource one a little bit. Again, you don't have actual resource tokens. But yeah, the cards are way more important here because, again, you're mostly spending cards to play other cards. And the other thing we haven't mentioned is that the fish tokens that you put on here, though that is another mechanic, is you get to move them around. Like, they have to be on a specific
you get an
card.
egg, and the egg can hatch into a little fish, and then your little fishy can swim around, and if the fishy makes a bunch of friends, it becomes a school of fish, which is worth even more points.
Yep, it doubles the points. It goes from 3 to 6.
And the fish are resources for some of the things, too. Like, some of the things you have to get rid of fish, which if they've become a school, you can't pick them off.
There is one card that I saw that required a school.
It ate a school?
Yeah, I think it was a whale.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you don't have Wingspan or Wormspan, or if you're just a completionist and you want all 3, check out Finspan. There will be a link down in the description where you can get yourself a copy.
While you're down there, don't forget to check out our link for Game Toppers. They're the sponsor of Neverboard Gaming. It's what we're filming on right here. Check it out. And also down there, there's going to be a button that says subscribe. If you
Make sure you do that.
I thought you could just feel that it was going to be your time to speak.
I am Thunder. God damn it, D! How did you not feel that I was next and then you?
I don't know.
We're
Build to it, and then
it's like we're trying to...
Never be bored.
Bam!